Hey everyone, welcome back again. So today is Tuesday, and we got some good news from Riot. Riot actually is buying a facility in Kentucky, so they're diversifying. It's good news. We'll look at all the details there. I think they maybe paid a little bit too much for it, but we'll look at the numbers. We'll go through them all. I'll give you guys my thoughts on it as well. And then what else do we have here? Bitfarms and the tribunal against, Riot versus Bitfarms at the tribunal in Canada. I was looking for some information on it. Not much there. I couldn't find anything on SEC website for either Bitfarms or for Riot, so I don't know what the verdict came in as. If you guys have any information on that, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. But yeah, that's all we have really going on here. Then we'll get into the Q&A side of things here. Bitcoin miners were down today as well. So let's get into it. And as always, not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research by full disclosure for everybody. If you enjoy some of the content, subscribe and hit the like buttons. Helps me out tremendously. And then also hit the notification bell if you have time to do that as well. But let's get into what's going on here with Bitcoin really quick. I think we're having just a little healthy pullback right now on it. It's down to 65,594. It was down today a little bit. It was down approximately 2.4% on the day. We followed that trend from yesterday where we were down. We were down again today. We're down a little bit in a new day now as well. And I think it was just a little bit needed. We had a nice run up here, about 20 some odd percent from the bottom here to the top. So a little bit of healthy pullback I think is good. RSI still looks good in my opinion. RSI on the daily here is at 57. Last time we were back here, going back a little bit further, was back here. Prices close to where we are, was a little bit higher on that. So we haven't had the reversal happen here yet on the RSI on the daily. The 4-hour chart, we can see the RSI is now at approximately 43. Last time we were back here, price was lower, so that's looking good. On the 1-hour chart, same thing here. We can see that the RSI is actually, let's see here, if we look at a longer time frame, going back further here, we're up higher. If we look at a shorter time frame, we can see that price back here was actually higher than we are right now. So we'll see what happens here on the 1-hour chart. Now, as far as the miners are concerned, they were pretty much for the most part down today. The only two that were in the green, it looks like, was BitDigital up 2%. DMG was also up 7.5%. And then everybody else was down like just a single digits down here, not that bad. And a lot of these guys need a little bit of a pullback, I think, just to keep the market healthy, keep the pace going forward and into the upside direction going forward, I think. But yeah, that's basically it. So if you were able to buy in today, I think today was a good day to buy in, potentially if you're dollar cost averaging as well. All right, so that's it on the Bitcoin miners. Let's take a look at the big story that we do have here today is Riot. So Riot announces the acquisition of block mining, expands Riot's total potential power capacity to 2 gigawatts, basically. They have, what do they have? 600 megawatts at Rockdale, 1 gigawatt at Corsicana. And then with this purchase, they have the potential to get, I guess, another 300 megawatts. So that gets them closer to the 2 gigawatts potential there. But here's what we have in the details. So Riot is pleased to announce that it has acquired block mining, a Kentucky-based vertical integrated Bitcoin miner for a total consideration at closing of $92.5 million. Okay, so let's take a look at that here first. So 92.5 million, if you take that, and they don't go into it here, but they stated up here, that stated down below as well. So the acquisition adds 60 megawatts of current operational capacity with potential to quickly expand to 110 megawatts. Okay, so at 60 megawatts, they're paying approximately 1.5 million per megawatt at that point, which is higher than what we've seen here recently from like the acquisitions that Marathon has done, Cleanspark as well. Marathon's been averaging around 400 some thousand per megawatt. Cleanspark in the 300,000s mark a little bit there. So they're definitely over. I don't know if they're overpaying. I think maybe that infrastructure megawatts are being valued higher now because of the HPC AI demand that's out there. So maybe that's the reason for it, based on just what I'm seeing here right now. But if we look at the 110 megawatts, that gets them to like 800,000, 750,000 range, right around there per megawatt. That's a little bit better there, right? If we look at the 300 megawatts, then at that point, then you're looking at a much lower, right around probably like the 300,000 mark potentially. But they still have to build it out. Okay. So there's that. Let's see here. Riot paid the purchase price through 18.5 million of cash from its balance sheet, plus 74 million of Riot common stock. So we're going to see some dilution happening in there. Additional consideration up to a maximum of 32.5 million can be earned by block mining through 2025 through the execution of additional power purchase agreements to add additional power capacity. Okay, so that's on top of what they're paying there. The acquisition of block mining immediately increases Riot's hash rate, expands Riot's footprint geographically, and provides exposure to additional energy markets outside of ERCOT, the additional details about this transaction, please refer to the investor presentation on Riot's website, which I do have pulled up here as well. We'll take a look at that. I think this is good, right? Even if they're paying a little bit premium on this, I think it's good. I think this is the way forward for them. This is the way that they should be doing it instead of trying to buy out another publicly traded company like Bitfarms. This is what we've seen with what Marathon has been doing, what Riot or what Cleanspark has been doing. They're buying up these smaller, privately held Bitcoin mining companies that have expansion possibilities. And those seem to work out the best as far as when it comes to economies of just basically what are you paying? You're not overpaying for everything. You're getting a pretty good deal on it. And you can then tailor to your needs how you need it to be done and everything else. And them also getting into Kentucky, I think, is a great thing. They're diversifying. They're not then so isolated in Texas only. So this is a great deal for Riot, I believe. And surprisingly, the stock didn't do all that well because of the news here. Let's see, Riot was actually down 5.31% on the news, and I think that might be because of the dilution with the shares that are going to be attributed to that as well, the purchase there. Maybe that's the thing that's kind of keeping that stock down. Maybe if Bitcoin was up today, maybe that price would have gone up on Riot as well. But I've said this before, Riot has huge potential if they can fix their operations, get much better uptime, and then with them buying this, I think this also helps. Okay, going down here. So Block Mining is a vertically integrated Bitcoin miner consisting of 2 operational sites, both in Kentucky, totaling 60 megawatts of operational capacity with potential to expand up to 155 megawatts. Okay, of the existing and operational 16 megawatts, 23 megawatts are currently being used for self-mining, 19 megawatts are vacant and available for immediate miner deployment, and 18 megawatts are contracted by Bitcoin mining tenants under hosting agreements. Approximately 8 megawatts of the 18 megawatts of contracted hosting agreements have change of control provisions and will be available for self-mining by Riot in 60 to 90 days. Okay, so it gets a little muddy there, but what about the other 10 megawatts there? I'm guessing those are longer-term contracts that Riot will have to deal with. Riot intends to further expand Block Mining's 2 sites, targeting 110 megawatts of self-mining operations by the end of 2024. Additionally, Block Mining owns a greenfield expansion opportunity also in Kentucky, adjacent to an existing substation, presenting an opportunity to develop 60 megawatts with potential to expand to 150 megawatts. So, I mean, that's all great news there, right? Megawatts are a big thing. We want to see more and more megawatts by these companies, and they're getting that with this deal here. So I think this is great news. Going down here, the acquisition of Block Mining marks a significant milestone for Riot as we continue to expand our growth pipeline, said Jason Les, CEO of Riot. This transaction allows us to diversify our operations nationally and accelerate Block Mining's expansion in Kentucky with a combined 60 megawatt of existing developed capacity and a pipeline to rapidly scale to over 300 megawatts. This acquisition expands our operations and further enhances our path toward our growth target of 100 exahash. The acquisition of Block Mining also diversifies Riot geographically into a new power markets and brings on board a proven operating team, which is all true there. So that's all great news. But the only question I have here is, I thought that with the Corsicana facility that Riot had, all the megawatts needed to get to 100 exahash with everything. Maybe that's not the case. I'll just run some numbers on it to see where they're getting at right now, based on what they have purchased with the miners used for immersion cooling and all that stuff. Maybe there's not enough there because they're at 20 exahash. I'll have to run the numbers on it to see where they are on it and if they actually need to buy more sites to get to 100 exahash, which is what they have planned for, with the options to buy more miners from, gosh, who was that from? I'm drawing a blank here, but it's not Bitmain, I know that for sure. MicroBT, I think it was the company that they're buying miners from. Okay. So I think this is really good news for them. And like I said, I think this is the way that they should be going forward, is buying these smaller sites, smaller companies that you can then develop into whatever you need it to, as long as they have a pipeline for additional megawatt growth. And we've seen this, like I've said before, with Marathon, with Cleanspark as well, with others, buying up these smaller sites and building them out to fit their needs, right? So I think this is much better than trying to buy out a publicly traded company like Bitfarms. And maybe they will eventually come out with something that maybe they are, dropping, trying to buy Bitfarms out. And I think it all maybe depend on what the tribunal is in Canada for that. And that was happening yesterday and today. And I thought I saw someplace that they were supposed to report that at the close of the day, the close of the trading day today, like 2 hours afterwards. But I haven't seen anything yet. I'll check your guys' comments here, see if you guys have anything on that to add on top of it. But that's pretty much it. So, I think this is good news for Riot. So if you're an investor in Riot, congrats to you guys. I think this will definitely help Riot going forward as well. Okay, one other thing that we're going to take a look at here really quick is on the miners market cap right now, how that stands. We can still see that Marathon is still the top dog here with 5.9 billion as of today. Cleanspark number 2, followed by Riot, and then depending on how much Riot diluted shares to get, what was it, 75 some odd million that they're contributing to that. They might be a little bit higher in market cap than what it is right now. IREN in 4th spot, CORZ Scientific in 5th spot, and then you can see everybody else down the list. Okay, so that's it. Easy day, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things, and we'll call it a day. So I like these kind of shorter days here, where there's not much going on. Makes it a little bit easier. I don't have to talk for so long. But okay, let's get into your Q&A side of things. I'll try and find some questions here. Let's see, where are we at? Let's see. Where are we at here? Okay. BJ says I own both, so I want both boats to float. Great. Yeah, I think they will. They'll do great going forward, I believe. Angie says, hit the like community. Appreciate it. Thank you. Binder Krantz says, saw the court case stream today. Bitfarms vs. Riot. A lot of lawyer talk. LOL. Well, probably, yeah. I'd like to know where you were able to see that. Be interesting to see if there's a yeah. Christian says, is there a replay? It'd be interesting to watch it to see what's going on there. Okay. And Binder Krantz says, no, I think you had to sign up 7 days before to get a copy of it. Okay. Interesting. Roger asks, does this mean that Riot giving up on Bitfarms word take or takeover? Potentially. I think it's going to depend on what the tribunal says, what the result is on that. Yeah. Christian says, if they buy Bitfarms are able to scoop out 5% more, they'll probably bring Bitfarms around 3. Then I'm unsure what a reasonable offer is, maybe 450. That's 15% premium. Would people be happy with that? I don't think so. As a shareholder, I mean, I have a pretty low price on it right now. My cost average is like $1.40 some, so I mean, I'd still be up on it. But I think there's more potential for the stock to do better on its own. But if they come in at like $5, $6, then it makes it a little bit tough to possibly walk away from that deal, maybe. And that's going to be evaluated by the board members there. Let's see. As far as I understood it, after today, even if they lose the case for 14.9 poison pill, they are still going to drag it to October until the shareholders vote. Yeah, I mean, if they lose the 15% poison pill right now, that just allows Riot to buy an additional 5% into the company to get to like 19.9%. At that point, that'd be like the normal, customary poison pill when that gets triggered, potentially. What else we got here? Hi, Seb. Thank you for the great analysis. Knowing everything we know today about Core and their huge 12-year contract, would you still sell their stock at a peak of the season or keep the stock? It would be interesting to see how the stock does if we have a bear market with Bitcoin, because they do have that huge contract that's going to be getting revenue from them in middle of next year. And it's a sizable contract there. For the first 3 years, we'll be paying back some of the $300 million that they got to build out or retrofit the facilities there. But after that, it's going to be a lot better profit margins on it. So it'll be interesting to see how the stock does. I own some shares in CORZ. My dad owns a lot more. We'll have to keep an eye on it, see how things go, and evaluate things as we get closer to possibly getting to full FOMO and peak bull run. See where things are at. If we're up huge, I'm pretty sure my dad will be up huge, but we'll see where I'm at that point. I may just take profits and then see how the stock actually does going forward. Would the shares come from the ATM or would it be additional shares of dilution? I think it's actually going to be shares. So the ATM shares are different. The shares for the ATM are converted into cash. This would be additional shares on top of the ATM, I believe. Let's see, Andre says the Ontario Securities Commission has not presented their verdict. Bitfarms' lawyer roasted Riot over the 2-day period, but it sounded like the commission was sympathetic to Riot's arguments. Okay. So that's interesting there. So we'll see what they come out with. Do you know when they're going to come out with that verdict? Hey, Seb, if you had to invest in only American-based miners, who would you recommend would be the best to get into? If you're looking at American-based miners, then you're looking at Marathon, Riot, and Cleanspark. Those are probably the best ones there. The other ones that might be interesting to look at would be like Cypher and TeraWolf as well. Let's see. Bill says DMG broke out of its wedge today. Chart technicals now look great. CEO Sheldon Bennett says new site news is likely in the next couple of weeks. AI allocation, no debt is nice. Yeah, I like DMG as a small miner. I think they're doing really good. Where do you think core hash rate will be after the buying machines from Block? Does it change your price targets? It would change the price targets for them, yes. The only thing that we don't know is how much of the old machines or how many of the old machines will they be taken offline to replace with the newer ones? That's the question. Will they be taking out 10 exahash of the old ones, or will they be taking out only 5 exahash or 7.5 and replacing it with the newer machines? That's the question there that I don't know, and I don't think they answered it yet as far as what they're going to be doing with it. But they said before, Adam has said that they are looking to possibly take out like 10 exahash of the old machines and buy 20 exahash of the newer machines, get them to like 30 exahash with much better efficiencies. So maybe that's what they will do. Can we assume from the BTC current price, miners will do at least X2 conservative? Yeah, I think even at that point, you're looking from where we are now to where possibly Bitcoin can go. I think we're looking at minimum, at least a 3x on the miners, even higher, like to a 5x, if not higher than that even. But that's kind of the conservative number that you look at there. Let's see. Victor's asks question, did you read the latest IREN report? If you did, what did you think of it? Thanks. Is that their presentation that they came out with? I think I haven't read that. No, that's something I'm planning on doing tomorrow possibly, or even tonight if I have the time. But that's on my to-do list. Ed says, I own both Riot and Bitfarms, and honestly, I see Riot doing operation much better than Bitfarms. Look at Bitfarms' implied outstanding shares are going up week after week. Bitfarms seems to love dilutions. You also have to think about Bitfarms has been around longer than Riot. Bitfarms has been around since like 2018, 2017. So they've been around a lot longer than Riot has been. And that's the reason why they have more shares out, because they've been through more of these cycles. See, is Riot still the most undervalued in terms of future exahash hodl, minus hodl? Well, let's take a look at that number, see if we can pull that up. What do we got here? So on that one, I look at what has been reported as being purchased, not what their targets are, what their growth plans are. So if we look at it here, let's see here, Riot is now at 49 million. Yeah, I mean, they're looking at for future hash rate, which is supposed to get them to 31. So now I think it would be like 32. But if they can build out the new facility in Kentucky, they might get an additional couple exahash there. That's going to be 35 exahash, I think, by the end of the year. That's not even counted in this as well, because we don't have anything concrete on it right now. But right now, even without that, they're definitely one of the ones that are the most undervalued for future hash rate growth. We're at 49 million right now per exahash. Okay, so you can see that here. And I think I forgot to show you guys this one here. So this is the presentation deck for Riot acquiring block mining. You can see their growth plans. Where did I see that here? I saw it over here. Yeah, so now they're planning to get, by the end of the year here, to 36.3 exahash instead of the 31 exahash I think they were targeting by the end of the year. So they are looking to increase that. Right. So there's that. I forgot to show you guys this. They do have now the 2 sites. And you guys can read over this. It's on their website. It's also on the SEC portal as well. It's under today's reporting for it as well. So they got Site 1, Commerce Drive, Site 2, Blue Steel, Site 3, Coleman Road as well. Greenfield right now, 25 megawatts. So yeah, this is definitely a good get for Riot. Okay. Let's get back into the Q&A side of things here. Let's see. I already covered that question. Let's see. Hi Seb, is BTC falling due to Kamala Harris becoming the presidential candidate of the Democratic Party? I have often heard that Democrats do not favor BTC. Is that true? Yes, that would be true that Democrats do not favor Bitcoin, at least historically. But I think that tide might be shifting a little bit more. I just saw a tweet today that Kamala Harris has reached out to Mark Cuban to get some more information on Bitcoin. So they're studying up on it. I think they know that there's a lot of people that are both in the Democratic Party and in the Republican Party that are either investing in Bitcoin miners, even altcoins, things like that. And they do not want to alienate those people. The Democratic Party has kind of a, what do they call it? What's her name? Elizabeth Warren, which has been a staunch proponent of trying to basically hit Bitcoin in the kneecaps as much as they can. So they got Operation Choke Point 2.0 happening. They had off ramps for Bitcoin with banks and things like that. So there was a lot of stuff that was happening there with them, and hopefully they see the light of day, because this is not going away. This is definitely going to be something that's going to be transformational over the next couple of years, and they got to get on the right boat here, I think. But we'll see. But I don't think that Bitcoin is going down because of that. I think it's just Bitcoin has been up quite a bit here, and then we just need a little healthy pullback. Why has HUD suddenly become so strong and resilient to market downturns? They had an investment from Kochu, I think it's called. I'm hoping I pronounced that name. But they invested $150 million into them for HPC AI. I think that's what's keeping the stock up right now. And we'll see how they can execute on that. Let's see. Andre says, no date was given for the definitive resolution by the OSC as of 6 p.m. They then might want to go for a walk. Then they may have wanted to go for a walk. Yeah, hopefully we get something on that. It would not be nice to see what that resolution is there. Hey Seb, kudos to you for the informed and insightful commentary on McNally Money. You did an excellent job. Thank you so much. Much appreciated, by the way. Belated congratulations on reaching 14,000 subscribers. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, it was fun. Every once in a while, I'll jump on with Bryce and Anthony, if they invite me. I've done it, I think, twice already this year. But it's just fun to get together with those guys. I'll be meeting up with them in Nashville. I'll be there Thursday afternoon. I'll be leaving Saturday morning. So I'll miss the presidential candidate Trump, ex-president, in his speech, which is at 2 o'clock. I have a family party that I have to get to by the late Saturday night, so I'm going to be leaving early, unfortunately. But then I'm thinking, it's going to be a mess there. You got to go through all the security, everything else, and then people are going to be leaving that conference at that same time, so it's going to be a mess trying to get out of there. I'm like, I'll watch what he has to say afterwards. It's not like I can go up there and take a picture with him anyways. If I could do that, maybe I'd stick around. I think that might be kind of cool to get a picture with the previous president. But that's not happening. Let's see here. David says Tesla's earnings were trash. They should use the $30 billion in cash to buy BTC. I mean, they still hodl, 600 some odd million in the BTC. But yeah, they should buy more Bitcoin, I think. But that is a huge hodl position there. And I mean, they're losing money to inflation. So we'll see what they do. Let's see. Is the news positive for Riot? How will this acquisition assist Riot on becoming the top miners? I mean, they're already the top miners. They're already in the top 5 miners as it is, as far as growth and everything else. They just need to execute better on their uptime, everything else. And I think the stock will do very well going forward. But this does help. With them being more diversified, not being so siloed into Texas, this is a good thing. And this is, like I said, I think this is a great thing for Riot. This is the way that they should be growing instead of, like I said before, trying to buy Bitfarms out. Let's see. What else? Andre says, no resolution ascribed by the... Okay, so we already covered that. Then my wife wanted to go for Gelato. Okay. Let's see. Riot has $1 billion in cash and BTC, right? Can't they be huge if they use it? Can't they be huge? I mean, yeah. I mean, if they use it, but they're using a little bit of cash and they're using some shares as well. I don't know why they're doing that. Maybe that's one of the things that the company that was being acquired wanted, to have shares in Riot for the upside potential there, maybe to make it a bigger bag for them in the next 12 months, possibly. That could be it. Let's see. Aaron says, I don't believe anything said during the election cycle. They will say anything to get votes and offset the other side's advantage. Yeah, it's always tough on that. You always have to watch what they actually do, not what they say. I agree with you there. Let's see. Do you think we can get a buying opportunity to buy CORZ? If we get any dips, and if you think they have a great potential going forward, buy any of the dips that we do get. I don't know how much more it's going to go down from where it's at right now. P says, you're the #1 crypto miner YouTuber. Keep it up. I appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, there's plenty of people that do this, probably even better than me, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Casey says, you can get a picture with Trump for 60,000 or 100,000 for a couple. I saw that. Where did I see that? I think I saw that on X. I was like, yeah, I'm not paying 60,000 for a picture. I can just do a Photoshop and do it for free. Or I can pay somebody on Fiverr or something like that to put me in with Trump's picture in there. Why would I pay $60,000 for that? If it was free, you know, the guy's walking out or something like that, taking pictures or something like that, that'd be cool, but I'm not paying that much. Let's see, Roger says, or asks, when do you think Michael Dell will reveal he bought BTC? If he does it personally, he doesn't have to reveal it. If the company buys, then I think they have to report it within a couple of days or a couple of weeks, or do they have to report it on their financials for the quarterly results at that point? Have you bought more Bitfarms? I did not. I spent, what did I spend? I spent $1,500 on the hotel room, the $500 for the access to the convention as well. So that's $2,000. Then you're looking at gas fee, eating. So that's going to be another $500. My cash went to that. Unfortunately, I wish I could have been buying Bitfarms instead of, you know, paying for the convention and everything else. Let's see. Hey, Seb, with earnings season coming up for BTC miners, I was wondering which do you think miss or beat? I think a lot of the miners that have HODL will miss. The miners that don't might actually beat if they were growing their hash rate this time, basically in the 3 months of the Q2. If they were able to increase their hash rate tremendously, I think they might be able to beat. That's the way kind of I would look at it. Because we're seeing that, Bitcoin's down about $10,000 or so in price from where it was at the end of Q1. So you're going to have a revaluation on it. And multiply that times the number of Bitcoins that they had at that point, what they ended up with. It could be a sizable amount. So we'll have to see on that one, see how that works out. Yeah, Gary Pallet says, yeah, so same thing, 60,000. Yeah, covered that already. Let's see. Is Bitfarms the top miner you have most conviction on the price appreciation? Going forward from where we are right now, I would say possibly. I think it's still way more undervalued than the other miners. And like I keep saying, I think it's just Riot getting off their back and stopping the acquisition for them. I think that might be a catalyst to drive the stock up much higher from where it's at right now. They do have great growth plans. They got a new CEO in place. They got Fannie Phillip on the board seat there. Those are two great gets for the company. I think they have really strong potential going forward, but we'll see. I still own Cleanspark and IREN and CORZ as well. Those have been doing really well also. So, you know, that'd be nice to be right 3 for 3. But if I'm right at least 2 for 3, I'll be happy with that. Let's see. Looks like BTC mining hit the support at 63,000 according to the daily chart. Let me take a look at that. That's 63,000. Let me see here. That's on the one daily 63,000. I mean, my support would be at 63,000, like 700. I don't think we've come down here just yet. We did come down on that on Thursday, the 18th of this month, but we'll see. Okay, I'm just looking at the chart here. Back to questions. Also, where do you see Bitfarms share count once fully funded for 35 exahash? ATM has been worrisome to say the least. Thanks. Yeah. So I'm not worried with the ATM. I think it's accretive to investors. We've seen this with IREN. We've seen it with Cleanspark. We've seen it with others. As long as they can grow their hash rate tremendously, right? Whatever they pull on it, it's always not advantageous to do it when the stock price is around $2 or something like that, because you're diluting more, unfortunately. So And that's also on investors. Investors see the ATM and they panic, right? Dilution. Oh no, oh my gosh, right? But they're not looking at it for the future potential that's going to be there going forward. I look at it as future potential, and then it's like, okay, they're doing an ATM, they're going to be growing. I want to be buying in. So I was buying into Cleanspark when they were diluting like crazy. That has worked out tremendously well for me. IREN, same thing. IREN, I didn't get in as much as I wanted to in the beginning, but I did correct that later on. Same thing. The growth story, once they report that they were fully funded, like Bitfarms just reported they are fully funded 21 exahash, I think that's great news there. And the stock should have actually went up because of it. But I think because they still are dealing with Riot, that is keeping the stock down for that reason. So how much will they dilute more? On top of it, depending, I guess, would be where Bitcoin goes from here, because they are selling a portion of their Bitcoin for operations and growth. They have been doing that for a while. So it just depends on that. I could see, let's see, another 15 exahash, roughly 14 exahash. I mean, I think we did the math. It was going to be like $180 million to possibly grow that out somewhere around there. So you're looking at stock price of $2 or $3, whatever it is. So you're looking at maybe like 60 million shares potentially being added onto it if they have to dilute the whole amount, which I don't think they're going to have to do. Let's see. Jose, Sebastian, the GOAT, thank you for all that you do time and time again. You're very welcome, and thank you so much for you guys coming in here. Let's see. Hey, Seb, just read on Twitter that 27% of Bit Digital's revenue is from AI. Is that good or bad in your opinion? I think it's more than that. Right now, Bit Digital's revenue is, what is it about? It was 4 million per year. I think that's gone up to 50 minutes. I think it's up to like almost 9 million now per month. Sorry, per month. So that's more. Let's take a look at Bit Digital here really quick on my numbers here that I have for them. Let's go back here and let's look at it over here. Bit Digital. Let's see. The revenue here for Bitcoin mining has been about, let's see here, almost 8 million here in April, 4.1 million here in May, 4.0 million in June. Right? If they're getting almost 9 million in HPC AI, that's like, what is that, 66% roughly, something around there, 60 some plus percent of the revenues from HPC AI right now. That's the way I would kind of look at it that way. But that can change. The Bitcoin price goes up and they're mining, and if they increase their hash rate as well, that could change. But right now it's looking at about 60 some percent, I'm guessing, based on just on the numbers that I have here. Okay. Let's go back here. Subscriber meetup in Nashville. And sorry if I already answered this. I answered this during like, no, I have not answered this. I don't think anybody asked about it. If you guys are in Nashville or you're going to be visiting there, you're going to the conference, hit me up. If you guys see me, stop by, say hello. We'll chat a little bit if I got time. But I don't think we're doing anything with. I'm meeting up with Bryce and Anthony with them, and then we're hitting some of the after parties and things like that on the company side of things with the miners. And then maybe if we have time, maybe we'll, if anything, I'll post something on Twitter if we're doing anything on that one. Which miners do you think will beat earnings? I've said this. I think the ones that don't have a HODL, I think HODL is going to have an impact on the miners that do have a HODL because the price difference in Bitcoin from the end of Q1 to the end of Q2. If any will beat it, it will be the ones that don't have a huge HODL position there and the ones that have actually grown the hash rate tremendously. So I'll look at like maybe IREN there. Who else? IREN, TeraWulf, Cypher. Cypher owns Bitcoin, so maybe not Cypher, but TeraWulf potentially might be able to do it. We'll see. Jim Allen says, excuse me, excuse me. Mark Cuban claims Camilla is going to speak in the Nashville convention. Looks like we could be covered either way. Yeah, so it's exciting, right? Game theory on. Everybody's jumping on Bitcoin bandwagon, and that's a good thing for us. Let's see. I just read here his comments. So if Trump is charging 60,000 a photo, you and Anthony Bryce could charge 30,000 a picture and undercut the president. Yeah, I could charge 30 cents for that. That made me giggle. Thank you. Hi Seb, do you think the BTC halving cycle is different? Are you expecting any manipulation by hedge funds, ETF operators? There might be some, but I think they want to generate as much revenue as they can from this as well. So it is a different cycle. We've had a new all-time high before the halving event. That's never happened before. I've said this before. Could we, there's a little thought in my brain that says, what if this is a completely different cycle? What if we have an extended cycle this time around where we don't have like a huge bear market, where we go down 80% on Bitcoin or something like that? What if we only go down 20-25% and then continue to go up? Also, what if this is a longer protracted cycle where the price goes up slower and increases over time, but it goes up year after year after year, like we've seen with gold ETFs when those got approved? We'll have to keep an eye on it. Let's see here. NG says, Soluna has had an incredible rise this year. Curious to know your thoughts. Is there a specific reason you haven't invested in Soluna? Soluna is an interesting one. I was covering Soluna back in 2022. I've said this before. They got into financial troubles like a lot of companies did at that point in the bear market, and they stopped providing their monthly production updates. At that point, I stopped covering them. I know that recently they have a new CEO in place for about a year now. He's been doing a much better job. They are also doing more of these kind of partnerships, which I have to do a little bit more research on that. How does that work out as far as revenues? Who gets to share the revenues? How much the partnerships get and stuff? Kind of like a joint venture, I guess it would be. So I need to do more information on that side of things if I wanted to really get into them. But they're still pretty small, but I think it's, John Belzier there, the CEO? Correct me if I'm wrong there. Whoever the new CEOs, they've been doing a much better job here recently, which is nice to see. And I can see why Soluna is actually doing pretty good here. It didn't seem investors cared about the FSB rule for the miners, aka brushed off that major earnings gap. Maybe. But I thought it helped, like Cleanspark. Cleanspark came out with their report. They were able to do that on their Q1 results, which were at the end of December. And I thought the stock had a pretty good pump from that on the earnings side of things. And they had a pretty good earnings also in Q1 ours, Q2 theirs. So we'll see what the numbers come out for the Q2 for everybody here. Let's see. Watch the tribunal going to give a verdict post-market. Didn't mention the date though. Personally, I am guessing this Friday, so people have more time to learn and use and react. Oh, that'd be interesting. Okay, thanks for the update there. Let's see. Has Bitcoin price historically dropped during the BTC conventions? I don't know. I never really looked into it to when the dates were of the convention and what did Bitcoin do on that one. So I'm not sure. Let's see. Does Riot have any realistic chance to overtake Bitfarms? I mean, there's always a chance there, right? If they can get board members in place, they can sway the other board members in their favor, it could happen that way. So anything's possible. We just don't know. I think it's a small chance, but there's a chance nonetheless. Let's see. Andrea says, hey gang, let's try to get 100 likes for Sebastian. Smash the like button. Thank you. Andrea, thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate that. If you guys could hit the like button, definitely do so. That would help. Let's see. What do you think of BitFuFu 28xh under 1 billion market cap? Is it just very undervalued because it's new, or are there some issues with them? BitFuFu. I've looked at them before. Let me see here really quick. BitFuFu is FuFu is a stock symbol, FUFU. What do we have here? They are at one. Let's see, BitFuFu participating in Bitcoin conference. They don't provide, it looks like, any operational updates. I think that might be kind of hard there. They also, let me see here, reports on the first quarter 2024 financial results. Here, let's take a look at my screen here. I'm really interested just to see what they have as far as cloud mining registered users. Okay, so they have Bitcoin produced self-mining 1,103. This is as of March. 3 months ended. Okay, so 1,000. So they're averaging about 300 Bitcoin per month, roughly, by customers from cloud mining solutions. So they're getting a heck of a lot more. So, okay. So they are mostly in like cloud mining solutions. That's where they're getting a lot of it there. And then a smaller portion is from their self-mining. Total mining capacity under management, so that's 20.6. Yeah, and that's mostly, I think, for the cloud mining solutions there. So I think maybe that's the reason why for it. Let's see, what else do we have here? I would have to really look into their numbers here. But the big reason is I think they don't provide their monthly operational updates. If they did, you'd get more analysts covering them potentially, which would then possibly help the stock. We could see what's going on with them month to month. But I think that might be the reason why, just looking at it really quickly on it. Okay. Let's see what else we got here as far as questions. Let's see. Ed says, I think August will be really interesting, especially when the 13F filings start coming out. Yeah, they'll definitely get more interesting for sure. Let's see. Which miners mine most of their Bitcoin in the USA? Well, the ones that we track here pretty much, well, I wouldn't say all of them. The only ones that are outside of the US is Hive, Bitfarms. Majority of their stuff is mined outside the United States. Other than that, who else would be in that boat? I think everybody else is basically US based for the most part. BitDeer is also widely spread out, but they have operations in the United States. And I don't know exactly how much they mine in the US compared to other countries as well. So those are the ones that I can think of right now. Let's see. David says, every Bitcoin conference has big hype and we come away with nothing new afterwards, so don't expect anything really big. Okay, yeah. I mean, we'll see what Trump has to say. People are having huge expectations for that. So we'll see. Michael says, thoughts on LMFA? Not sure who that is. They seem undervalued. Their HODL alone is above the market cap. How do their hosted contracts compare to others and big miners' energy prices they host with CORZ and Giga? Not sure. I would have to look into them. Which miner is most undervalued today and which one is least risky in case of BTC price going down? Oh, that's a good question there. I mean, they're all at risk at that point. Bitcoin price is going down. The one that's less risky right now, I mean, you're looking at probably like the top 5 miners there, I would say. That would include Marathon, Riot, Cleanspark, IREN, maybe CORZ, Bitfarms that you could include in there as well. Then some of the other guys, Cypher, TeraWolf as well. Those guys I think are less risky in the long run compared to some of the smaller miners. We'll have to see on that. And then in case of BTC going down, is least risky. I think that's the ones. I mean, the ones that have infrastructure, have good power costs, good operations, things like that. But if Bitcoin goes down, and if it goes down a substantial amount, then that's going to be painful for all the miners. And they're all going down. Let's see. Also, any thoughts on Riot's new acquisition? How does it change the numbers and growth projections for them? Sorry, I missed the beginning. Yeah, this is good news for Riot. We'll have to run the numbers for it. Right now, I'm only tracking what they have purchased. I'm not tracking what they are expected to get to, right? So their goal might be to get to 100 exahash in 2025, but they only purchased to get to 31 exahash. Now with the additional sites that they're purchasing in Kentucky, that gets them to even more, but that site only has, 1 exahash of self-mining, something like that. So that gets them to 32. They have to build out the site. They have to get miners in there as well. They have to purchase those. Once they purchase those, we'll be including that in the spreadsheets here. So in due time, we'll get some better numbers from them. Let's see here. If we do get the extended cycle, 100% would sell out before having, then buy back in a few months afterwards. Yeah, I mean, but that's still, what is it now, 3 years and 9 months away, something like that, from the next halving event. So we still have a long ways to go. Did I hear BitDigital will begin recognizing significant revenue starting August? Did you hear anything like that? Well, I think that is from their additional contract with their customer for the additional HPCI, which is now at 93 or 97 million a year contract with them. So they're going to start seeing that happen for them. Once the servers are energized or plugged in and operational, which they said that should happen in by August. They should start seeing that. Let's see. Jim says, I'll be at the convention tomorrow, staying at the Omni. I've got 30,000 shares in Bitfarms, 5,000 in Cleanspark. Awesome. You got more shares than I do in Bitfarms, and I think I got you beat in Cleanspark here just a little bit. But I'll be staying also at the Omni, so that should be fun there. It should be a good time. I'm going to be there, like I said, Thursday afternoon, and I'm staying through Saturday morning. So we'll definitely have fun at Nashville. And remember, whatever happens in Nashville stays in Nashville. Let's see. David says Ethereum had a 1 billion in trading on their launch day today. BTC had 4.6 billion. Not too bad for Ethereum. Really, yeah, it's not too bad compared where Bitcoin is and where Ethereum is. That's actually pretty good. So it was actually a pretty good day for them. Let's see. Michael says BitFufu has monthly updates also. I just went through their. Let me take a look at it here again. Let's see here. If we look at it, and this is from Yahoo. Let me see here. Last month returns. Let's see, just press releases. Maybe they do it on their website and they don't put it out here. 2 months ago, yeah, I don't see anything as far as May updates, June updates, or anything like that on it. Maybe they do it on their website. That could be it too. Let's see. Where was it? But they only got public listed in March, so no coverage yet. It seems like a good model to diversify into cloud mining. Why the market value at lower? Thanks. Typically, there's not great margins when you're doing that. Typically, we'll have to see what the kind of margins they do have on it. So maybe that's why. Maybe. Let's see. I've got 40,000. Would you go with IREN or CORZ Scientific to diversify? Jim, I think you said you have also Cleanspark and Bitfarms already. I would go with maybe both. Because all it takes is one of these guys to come out with good news on either getting an additional HPCA customer or getting an HPCA customer that's for a long term. That could pump the stock. They could also come out saying that they're growing their hash rate more. So, and you just don't know which one's going to do much better going forward. That's why I like diversifying into some of these guys here, especially the ones that are doing really well recently. Good operations, good uptime, good management. All that stuff goes into play here as well. So I think both of those are really good plays. Let's see. Could you show the cost to mine list comparison? Which miners have the lowest cost per BTC? I could show it to you guys, but it's going to be, now it's going to be 4 months old. It was before the halving event. So it's not going to be all that accurate. Once we get the quarterly results for the miners, I will update that. And last time I did that, I got pushback from some of the miners because I wasn't including all their costs or cash, I wasn't taking into account that they used shares to pay off some things. It was just a nightmare for me. So I'll maybe just point it out there. I'll do a quick screen for you guys. I'm not going to go over it. You guys can take a look at it, and then I'll provide it obviously to the Patreon members as well for that. But I was off by only a couple thousand on some of these guys, and I understand that they want to have the accurate numbers out there, and it's tough to get the accurate numbers when you're looking through all the information that they have. I'm not a accountant, I'm not a financial guru, so I was looking at the numbers that were provided, and I was pretty close, but I was off a little bit on some of the guys. Hi, Seb, which stocks you are expected to double in 2024? From where we are right now, we would need Bitcoin to basically go up at least 50% to 100% up from where it's at right now. So at that point, I think a lot of the mining stocks would do that. If Bitcoin goes up to 100,000 to 120, 130,000, something like that, we could see a lot of the mining stocks doing that, doing a double. Disher says, I bet my life savings on IREN. I have a lot of IREN as well. Let's see. Covered that already. If Riot could execute, they wouldn't be trying to acquire other companies. Organic growth by acquisition. I don't know if I agree with that. I think if you're looking to increase your megawatts, but I do agree that they need to operate much better on that point. But I think if you're looking to grow even further and you can get something quicker now than having to wait until 2025, 26 to be built out. Of course, it's kind of going to take them a while to get that all built out. If they can get something at a reasonable price right now, I think it's a good thing because you're getting that now. Network hash rate is still relatively low compared to where it's going to probably be here in the next 6 months to a year. So if you can start mining now, you'll be mining more Bitcoin than you will be later on. So I think it's beneficial to do that now. Let's see. Hi, so do you think Cleanspark will have a hodl of 10,000 BTC end of year? Let's see. Where's Cleanspark right now? Cleanspark is at, what's their hodl right now? 6,191. I mean, they've been hodling. How much have they been adding into their hodl here? I mean, they've been adding a lot. I mean, they haven't been selling here anything in the last 6 months, barely anything. 6 months at, I mean, they increased that by 400. Could they get there in the next 6 months? That would be 24. I mean, they could get close to it, but I don't think they're going to get to 10,000. They would have to install a heck of a lot more hash rate here quickly in order to do that. And we'll see. I don't know. Going back to the questions. John says, appreciate your great work. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Question is, BitDigital a good investment? I think they are. They're asset light, which I'm not in favor of, but it's working out for them. And I think the market is also valuing on being asset light instead of being asset heavy, I guess you could say. If they start buying some infrastructure, some data centers, or whatever it might be, whatever it is, then I think the stock will do better going forward. But we need to see some assets they actually have. Because right now they don't have any assets. All they hold is servers and Bitcoin miners. That's it. So assets are, I think, something that would be appreciated here by the investment community. Michael says, BitFufu, yes, on their website. So they do report on their website. Okay, I'll take a look at them, see what's going on with them. Can you talk about cloud mining margins? Any examples, numbers? Well, we've seen it historically. Cloud mining. You can possibly look at BitDigital's numbers there. Those numbers seemed extremely high to me. I don't know if it was just my numbers that I was looking at for them. But typically when you're looking at like even hosting, if you're looking at hosting, you're generating on average like 10 to maybe 15% profit margins. You might get sometimes a little bit higher than that. But I would have to see what their margins are on cloud hosting or cloud mining, I think they call it. John, thank you so much for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Let's see. It seems the miners that are more investor focused have more frequent updates and interviews trading higher. Yes, there could be something to that as well because you're being more upfront with what's happening. Investors have an idea of what's happening. Also kind of an insight into the management team as well. I think that all helps. Let's see. What's the deal with Argo? And then what's their hodl right now? I don't think they have any hodl right now. They are in, I don't have Argo here in my spreadsheet. It's in my smaller miner sheet. But they sold their infrastructure, their sites to pay off debt for, what is that, Galaxy Digital, I believe. So they don't own anything really now. I think if they do, they own maybe like a very, very small site. But they had the one site, Helios, I think it was called, in Texas, which they sold off to Galaxy Digital to pay off some of the debt that they had there. They just made a lot of mistakes going forward. So they don't own anything. They have older machines as well. To be honest, I'll be surprised if they actually make it past the cycle on that one. Let's see. Any favorites among smaller miners? Any thoughts which are more promising now? Smaller miners, the ones that have infrastructure would be like DMG, Digihost, Sato, I believe, Soluna as well. Who else? Those guys seem to me like they're a little bit more promising going forward than the ones that don't anything like Argo right now, Sphere 3D, right? And it also depends on how well they can execute going forward. So there's a couple of miners that I don't know will survive this the next year or two. But those are the ones I would kind of look into if you want to get into the smaller miners. You know, they're going to have a hard time growing because their stock prices are so low. So it's hard for them to use an ATM to grow. So they're trying to grow organically through operations, which they do have lean operations there. But it's going to be tough for them to grow to any sizable amount going forward. Jamil, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate all your patience as well as your knowledge. I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate you guys coming in here. But yeah, I think that is it. I think I cut up with all your guys' questions. Okay, Michael is asking, why is having infrastructure good for smaller miners? It adds a lot of costs. You control your own destiny at that point. And you can also switch that out for HPCI if you wanted to. You have optionality there at that point. right? It does add more cost to it, but you also can write things off. There's benefits to having your infrastructure, I think, than not. Just the way I've seen things before, because you're in more control. You can control your destiny as far as operational uptime. You can get power credits. You can do a lot more things. If you're host with somebody and somebody else has their own machines, who do you think they're going to care, or which miners do you think they're going to care more? They're going to care more about their own miners being operational than the hosting customer, right? That's the way I look at it there. Excuse me. Michael says thanks, and then good stuff. Nice to catch you live. I think you wanted to say. Yeah, thank you so much for coming in here, guys. I think we'll call it a day. We were going on close to an hour here right now. So like I've said before, I think the news that came out from Riot today was good news. It was great news, actually. This is the way that they should be growing, in my opinion, going forward. We'll see if they buy any other sites. They do have the cash to do it if they wanted to. So we'll see if that happens there. And then we got one more question here we'll get. It seems very hard for IREN to reach 30 exahash by end of year. What is your thoughts about that? You think they can do it? Oh, yeah, I think they can definitely do it. I have no concern with IREN being able to do that. They even up their updates to get to 20 exahash by the end of Q3. They just got to continue building out their infrastructure and adding machines in there, which they already have purchased and on the way. So I don't see a problem there. Okay. But like I said, Riot, good news there. We'll see what Bitcoin does tomorrow. We'll see what Bitcoin does over the Bitcoin conference when that's going on. We'll see what happens over the weekend when Donald Trump talks on Saturday. We'll see if there's any pump on Bitcoin because of it, depending on what he says, I guess you could say. And then tomorrow we'll do a live stream as well. We'll see what's happening tomorrow with the miners. We'll see if we get any news on Bitfarms. And then on Thursday, I'm going to be out in Nashville, so there won't be any stream. Friday, same thing. Saturday, I'm going to be traveling back, so we'll do a stream on Sunday. And then maybe, if I get the chance, maybe we'll do something, I don't know. I'll maybe get some recordings of CEOs or something like that, just talking with them maybe on my phone, and then I'll present that to you guys if I have the chance to do that, depending how things go. All right. So wish you guys a great night. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for all the super chats, tips, and all that stuff. So I greatly appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.